And thanks so much for Brewmance. The Friday Nooner. You made it. Congratulations. It was a touch and go. And if you do feel my studio at least shaking, this weekend is Luke Air Force Base Days, which is basically just us flexing on the rest of the world, saying we're so good. We actually just have teams that do stunts. That's our Air Force is pretty amazing. So they're practicing overhead as I am in the West Valley. So if you see this, you see like I'm having an earthquake like this, it's because there's probably an F-16 or 35 banking over my studio at this point. So welcome. Thanks for hanging out here, Robbie. Good to see you, buddy. You were getting fired up about my man. It gets me fired up when you get fired up about my man, Mr. Samuel Alito, in a very clear and cut, what we would say is a violation of the First Amendment case having to do with coercion in the government to social media companies.
So this is the Supreme Court case that we talked about on Monday that we want to follow up on because we get to dig into it a little bit more. And there's a question that Samuel Alito, and he's one of the conservative justices who gets slammed all the time for being a conservative justice. And this is an attempt to do that because this question, Mike, about those interactions during the pandemic between the White House and Twitter, most explicit example, Alito's question was essentially, what does coercion mean? Because the whole idea behind this First Amendment case is, can the government coerce, say, Twitter or X to take down a post? So his point, and it's a very important question, even if he's one of those crazy conservative justices.
MAGA Supreme Court Justice.
That's it. That's the label. Yeah. Even though he wasn't appointed by Trump.
Correct,
we'll call him that anyways. Who cares?
Facts. We don't care about facts.
Because I think his point is at least worth discussing, Mike, because there is an implied coercion when you get contacted by the government with the subtle reminders that we're the government and we have all the power in the world.
That's true. And I like that. It kind of harkens back to it depends on what your definition of is. That's where it goes down to, well, okay, so let's define what coercion is. And it also goes back to the Obamacare case. Remember that? Well, we'll define this fine. Is it a fine or is it a tax? What is this? And thank God they actually break it down like this because it's a very important case. The weird part about that is I would agree with Rob that if I get contacted by the government, there is an implied you need to do whatever the heck we're saying. Or if we ask questions, we know you've done something wrong, whether you think you did or not. The great part about that is that in today's society, if the government called me and said, this is the government, you have to do this or that, I would say it's a prank call, it's a scammer, and I'd hang up on them. Try back another time. They're slappy. Hey, jerky boy. No, not here. And I'd hang up on them. So
I love it. Going back to the jerky boys, baby. Back when CDs were fun.
Dude, I listened to a skit the other night on the way home. I did play some Rizzo. Yeah.
Nice.
They're going to sell some cars there. Yeah, I got in trouble with the last dealership there. I choked the guy out. They smashed his head against his car. Wouldn't want to buy the car. I love that.
That is great.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yes.
Well, no, I'll bring it back to the coercion thing. I got a speed camera ticket from the city of Paradise Valley here in Arizona. Paradise Valley is a rich enclave. So
when
I think I got the ticket in the mail maybe in November. So I ignored it. Yeah. I ignored the ticket. Pretended I didn't get it. There's no proof that I have it. Then I'm like, because, here's how it works. You get a camera ticket. They technically have to serve you. So I'm banking on the fact that, all right, are they going to show up to my house from Paradise Valley? They did.
It's a hard walk up that hill of yours, dude.
Yeah, it is hard.
I'd safe to say they're not going to show up.
But that's what I was hoping for. And here's where it gets even better. Guy comes up and New York Rob is here. And the guy asks Rob if this is Rob Hunter's house. He says yes. That was it. I'm done. That's getting served.
Yes.
So I call up the court and I'm trying to argue with the nice lady that answered the phone. And I'm saying, but I technically wasn't subpoenaed. It was left at my door. Well, if someone was there and said, you live there, that counts. And I was like, dang, that's that coercion. It's automatic that even if you try to argue that, I don't know, I wasn't here, it was just left at my door. They don't care because they win. And if you don't pay that bill, they might suspend your license. And they won't even tell you that they'll suspend your license. That's coercion.
I think that'd be a fun gig, though. The process server. I think that'd just be a fun gig. I'm like a tough one too, where you got to like dress up as a doctor to get in there or something like that. Oh yeah, back in the movies, wasn't Fletch in there when he did? No, he was a reporter. Never mind. But he had all the characters and stuff like that. I'd do the same thing. I'd be all about that whole thing. I'd put it on the Underhill bill.
Well, and I love that. I wish I could have put the speed ticket on the Underhill bill, but the alternative was to drive to Paradise Valley and go to traffic court. I'm like, okay, it's going to take me 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get home. So there's an hour of my time. Who knows how long I have to wait in the courtroom? So I'm like, just pay the stupid bill. Fine. You caught me red-handed.
I did. So I got a criminal speeding ticket. I was doing 85 and a 45 or something like that. I was going to the lake in the middle of the day, driving a Toyota Highlander. It wasn't like some nefarious dude is out doing,
running drugs.
Anyway, I roll right by these dudes. They're driving the other way. I didn't know he could clock somebody coming the other way, but they knew I was moving hot. I see in the rear view them spinning around, and they come at me all Starsky and Hutch style. Dude he came out strapped, yelling at me. You're in criminal speed. You're going criminal. I can take you to jail right now. I'm like, dude, I've got my hands on the wheels. I'm in a Toyota Highlander. It's a minivan. I'm a dude going to the lake. Don't yell at me. Just give me a ticket. Okay, fine. So I got the ticket, and I had to go through all this. We have a team of attorneys, and so I had all this coaching, exactly what to say, exactly how to get off this. This is what you do. I had to drive to Mesa. Okay, I live in the West Valley, so this is about a 45-minute hour drive. So I go out there. I'm practicing the entire way. I'm practicing exactly what I'm supposed to say, exactly how I'm supposed to say it, in what order I'm supposed to say it, right? I get up to the clerk. They call my name. I get up to the clerk, and she opens up the file and goes, okay. All right, do you want to take traffic school? I said, and it goes away? She goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take that. She goes, good. She stamps it. She's like, here's your paper, and I'm done. I'm like, I did all of that for nothing. So I could take one of the online courses out here in traffic school. And in Arizona, I got to tell you, it's the easiest things in the world. They say, this question will be on the test. So you just keep hitting next, screenshot the thing that's going to be on the test, and you take the test, and you're done.
Yeah, well,
just that was ruins a couple hours of your day.
Yeah, but you had to go to court. So I was like, okay, the $243 plus the $38 processing fee. I just valued my time more than it would take to go handle that hassle. So I said, fine, I'll just pay the money, which is probably the worst thing ever, because in the new entrepreneurial space, you don't have as much money as when you have a regular job. But it was still worth my time to not go to the courtroom and try to handle this hassle.
So good job, Justice Alito.
Yeah.
Coming down to it.
Coercion, government, automatic.
I mean, okay. So there's 2 First Amendment cases going on right now. There's 2 first. The other one's with the NRA, National Rifle Association.
Yeah,
that's right. And check this out. Do you know who's? This is funny. Do you know who's representing the NRA? The ACLU.
No. Oh, nice.
No lie. I was like, well, this is strange, bedfellows. This is interesting here.
Well, isn't it because a government official advocated people leave the NRA memberships, quit, basically?
No, it was the advocated, basically threatened, coerced certain financial institutions, because that was the New York City comptroller or whatever the heck this person was. Basically told financial institutions, we'll be watching you. You need to have every I dotted, every T crossed if you do work with.
Sting and the police be watching me.
NRA and anyone. No, reputational. Oh, they said be careful of your reputational damage. For doing work with the NRA. So, so I was reading the article. Rob will freak out about this. Supporting it, it said a slam dunk case that the NRA should win. Vox. That's how off the rails this whole thing is. What a flagrant violation of the First Amendment this is. That they're like, this is going to be unanimous, or people are just off their minds. First Amendment, baby, it's stuck. That's why it was number 1. Like we said, this was the First Amendment for a reason.
It's so funny to me. I was thinking about this. I was reading about SB 1070 many years ago, about 15 years ago in Arizona. There was a bill signed called SB 1070. It was very similar to the law that was passed in Texas that allows Texas to arrest people that show up in Texas illegally. Essentially, this was the Arizona's version of the law. It was dubbed the Show Me Your Papers law, because you had to prove your citizenship if there was reasonable suspicion that you were not.
Yes.
And it became this big firestorm. So the governor at the time was Jan Brewer. Jan Brewer signed it clearly for a political move because she was trying to win a full term. She was Secretary of State. Janet Napolitano was the governor, became the Department of Homeland Security head under Obama. So in our state, Arizona, there's no lieutenant governor. So the Secretary of State takes over if the governor leaves. So Jan Brewer, for the political win, does it. And on its surface, it was something Arizona voters supported because in 2010,
100%.
it was like now, but like Eagle Pass, Texas, or El Paso, Texas, which is where all the crazy things are happening. So people wanted action because the federal government wasn't doing anything. But it became this big multi-million-dollar lawsuit that filed all the way up to the Supreme Court. So when it was a political move, everyone knew it was going to be challenged. But this is the reality of politics. They don't care about spending your money on lawyers to defend laws that eventually will lose because they want to win elections.
Yeah.
And I just had that realization. Now, to Jan Brewer's credit, her defense of the law was private money. She raised private money. She was able to defend it, not with taxpayer dollars, but the government was involved at several different levels, spending your money trying to thwart this law.
Mostly winery donations. Do you remember her trying to say Tuskegee Airmen? Remember that? Tuskegee,
Sweet lady. Sweet lady. Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's a doll. She's an absolute doll. Yeah, my friend of mine lived down the road from her and said she'd be driving to work or whatever, and she'd see Jan out there just tending to her roses and just doing her thing, just a grandma, just a cool. She gave Obama the chest thumping when he showed up. We miss you, Jan. Cheers to you, dear. Cheers
if
to
you Google Drudge Report, but don't go to drudgereport.com, just go to Google and Drudge Report. One of the headlines that still comes up is Arizona governor confronts Obama. I'm like, it's still on there.
Yes.
The famous
You're a legend,
Jan
Jan.
moment. Yes.
You're a legend. Tuskegee. Yeah. It was so bad. Yeah. Her actually, she liked to drink a little bit. Yeah. And her name's Brewer. Her maiden name is Drinkwine. You can look it up.
Yep. Just a given.
Fact check.
Just a given.
Mm-hmm. You're preordained to be a drunk, but she's not drunk. She just likes to drink a little bit. How about this? Did you know that the Green New Deal is back in headlines? Because the powers that be, the Democrat caucus, is out on the steps of Congress with their podium with the new cool sign that we pay for as taxpayers that says Green New Deal now. Oh yes. So Green New Deal now is the push of the day, and it is as dumb as it really used to be. AOC said that the Green New Deal will bring public housing to zero carbon emissions. 3 words. We don't care. We don't care. And housing should be affordable, resilient, sustainable housing should be a human right, says Delia Ramirez. Okay, here, let's make a deal. Shall we how about the Mike and Rob deal, the new Mike and Rob deal? I want you to go back to your districts, and when you can come back to me and report that you don't have one homeless person in your district, and you figured out how to take care of that problem, especially homeless veterans, you're going to let us know that you don't have any of those, and you're going to prove to us that you don't have any of those. Okay, then you can start looking to my taxpayer dollars to fund your nonsensical socialist dream.
I love this because it's a reminder of the tomfoolery that we get from politicians. Because the thought is the world is so keen on a Green New Deal. Nope. Most of us are just trying to live our lives day to day, figuring it out the best that we can. Not all concerned about where the energy comes from. Because here's the other part about this. Green energy is more expensive than traditional energy, at least as of now. So if you're building quote unquote affordable housing units with advanced technology that's expensive, it's not affordable housing. It's not an affordable housing project. It's actually the opposite. And if I was poor, and I have been poor, most of us have been poor at some point in our lives. That first job, you have, your crappy apartment that you live in because that's what you can afford. Or you have 2 people living there, whatever it is. You have 9 roommates. The idea that you don't have to earn it is the big missing component of it, because you have to strive for something in life to be successful. And with a lot of what these politicians say is they don't want you to have to strive for anything, so you'll vote for them. It doesn't make your life better. It doesn't improve your skill set, your mindset. It doesn't make you happier. It just puts you in a government-controlled unit that the hope is you'll vote for AOC in New York.
You don't have to, because again, the government that give you everything can take everything away.
Yes.
Yes, under threat. Yeah, and by the way, it is the only reason why is because we are leading up to an election that you're hearing this nonsense.
Yep.
Why didn't you hear about this the minute that Biden took office? You didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
You had to wait up to an election.
I know.
So you go up to an election. Jamal Bowman says they also need to pass a Green New Deal for public schools.
Yeah.
No, how about you teach the kids something so they can actually read at a 10th grade level when they're, I don't know, in 10th grade?
Nah.
How about that? How about they have some life skills when they graduate high school?
No, too hard. Too hard. Can't do hard things. We want to put money that we take from taxpayers into companies that donate for Democrats. That's what we really want to do here. That's the design. And here's the other part about this. The more we learn about green energy, the less, I guess, green it is, except for the money involved in it.
True.
We told you about the solar plant. So if you drive from Phoenix to LA, you drive through Palm Springs. And just, I guess, northwest of Palm Springs, you've got these big wind farms. And they're ugly as sin. You drive by them and 10% of them are on. So there's item number one. In that same area, they built this solar farm.
Smart.
And they built it right in the desert, but it caused all kinds of problems. Number one, it's driven up some dust. So the people that live in that area are breathing in all this dust all the time. It's interrupted some type of desert tortoise and some other desert animals' habitats. So they're adjusting to that. And that's throwing off the entire ecosystem in the desert.
Yep.
So that's just from that. And then we learned last week or a couple weeks ago, there was a study that had come out that if you look at the entire package of the electric car from start to finish, including like the tires, because electric vehicles are heavier, so they go through tires faster, electric cars are actually worse for the environment than a gas car.
100%.
So it's all a myth that the media is they don't investigate enough, shall we say, because they want to buy in that belief narrative system that they're saving the planet. Like a lot of these folks have this complex, Mike, where they think they're saving the world. And in reality, they're making it worse.
Look at summer camp, Bernie Sanders, right? He said, we transform our energy system and create sustainable housing, not based on fossil fuels. Not based on fossil fuels. Okay, can we stop talking like children and talk like grown-ups here? It's not like adults. So if you get rid of fossil fuels altogether, we're not going to stop drilling for petroleum. Period. We absolutely can't. And if you want it, how are you going to make your electric vehicle? How are we going to, how this microphone that I have right here, this right here, got this over here, some plastic here, and then some plastic there. Yeah.
Plastic. All made from petroleum.
Oh, I love my polyester cotton blend shirt. Yeah. Polyester is plastic. That's exactly what that is.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's wrinkle resistant because the cotton and the polyester is woven together, and the polyester doesn't wrinkle, so it basically pulls the cotton back to really where it was.
Love me some oil. Love me some petroleum.
Let's go drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. And this is nonsense. It won't happen. If it is, it happens part of Biden's $7 trillion budget. And it is bankrupting and hamstringing our nation. And this is, I can't see any other reason why this type of money and this type of stupidity is bandied about in Washington, D.C. So the only conclusion you can come to is, oh yeah, it's about buying votes. That's all this is. They're assuming that we're stupid. They're assuming that their voter base is stupid and that they think that any of this crap is actually going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime. We will not see any of this, no matter how much money you throw down on it. Let's say they pass a $7.4 trillion budget. Let's say that actually passes, and this is it for the Green New Deal. None of it will accomplish what you said it was to, what they said it was to accomplish. Nothing. It is all a transfer of wealth. That's all, and not to you, by the way, not to me. It's a transfer of wealth to them, from you to them. That's what socialism.
And that's politics. It's the name of the game is how to spend your money. So what we do here, Matt Russell and Hunter's the Brewmance. That's Mike Russell. I'm Rob Hunter. Thank you for being here. This is why we encourage you to share, because there has been a trend throughout history of keeping knowledge held close to the power structure, knowledge about the truth of green energy. They want that myth to proceed so that you'll vote for them, as Mike just said, and they get to spend your money on their pet projects and their friends and the people that donate to the political party. Republicans do this too. I mean, there's no hiding that either. But the difference is typically that with this green energy policy, there's some other sinister part of this, that the more we go green, the more it enriches China, because China controls about 80 to 85% of the flow and manufacturing of these rare earth minerals that are needed to, quote unquote, go green. So U.S. has a pretty good supply of our own oil. So just from a resources and a natural defense standpoint of having a strong nation that isn't relying on these chips. So Biden was here in Arizona yesterday at the Intel plant. Mike, I don't know if you caught this. He's pitching.
I saw it at one of our local terrestrial radio stations down there with their amazing reporter. My chin was on the floor. I was like, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Biden's pitching this multi-billion-dollar plan to give Intel money so they can build fancy chips in the U.S.
A15 processor.
Sounds sexy, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? It goes to key fobs.
Mm-hmm. But here's why. Because right now, the supply chain for all the things, the rare earth minerals we need for our missiles and for our smart technologies and our cell phones, is at the risk of China, because Taiwan makes 90% of the world's super fancy high performance chips. And China keeps creeping in and creeping in and creeping in. So that's what this effort is, just in case it hits the fan in Taiwan and China goes to war. Well, all right, we're ready to up the manufacturing. And here's another interesting tidbit. United States troops are now stationed permanently on some of the outer Taiwanese islands. So I don't know if you saw that one slip past.
Training exercises, Rob. Training exercises. That's all it is. Remember, no boots on the ground.
Yep.
We don't put boots on the ground.
We just don't tell you what
boots are. They have sneakers.
Yeah.
They don't wear boots. We have combat sneakers.
That's right.
Not one boot hit the ground.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. That's. Oh, and by the way, Congressman David Schweiker joining us on the 1st. He's going to be hanging out with us to fill us in on what everything going on in DC. He did tell me the reason why this clues me in is that he said, "Do you know that we have everything that we need for this right here in the United States? As a matter of fact, we have probably one of the biggest world supply of these rare earth minerals that we need. We have it right here. We found them." And he named the two places, but you know me, I forget. And so, or I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. So because we were talking about something else, and then he went on to rare earth minerals. I'm like, dude, we were talking about hunting and cooking meat. Well, and we moved on to that, or he moved on to that. But we have it in there. So here's the deal: Green New Deal. Oh, green, right? We need all these rare earth minerals. Oh, but you can't dig on our. What do you? You can't drill. You can't dig. You can't have a mining operation for everything that we need for our Green New Deal. No. We're gonna go get that from China. Yeah, I know you're not a big James O'Keefe fan. I'm not either. The tool is just—he's absolutely insufferable. But the dude does dig up some stuff, and he does have some pretty big chops on him to go do the things that he does and say things to people that he says. Apparently, and I'll try to flesh this out, started knocking on doors of major DNC donors that the reporting that has to be done by the Democrat Party said that this person gave $25,000, this person gave $90,000. They go to those people. Did you give the DNC $90,000? Like, no, I gave him like $900. Like, did you give DNC $25,000? No, I gave him $100. So they're saying that they basically in their reporting, they're saying that these donors are just huge, escalating and all this money, but they're saying they know where the money's coming from. They're claiming it's China. So, yeah. So not surprising that we have all these rare earth minerals that we need right here. But no, we can't do that. It's going to hurt the environment. We're going to go to those child labor farms over there and those concentration camps, and we're going to get them from our buddies in China because they need to make money.
And I mean, look, I don't know if that's true. I've heard rumors.
I said we fleshed it out. Why not?
Yeah. But I've heard rumors of things like this for years in politics. The question always comes down to the absolute concrete proof, and then the question then becomes: does anyone actually care? Because
sure.
Again, I say this. I was reading about this election. There's about 7 states that matter. Arizona happens to be one of them. Pennsylvania, Michigan, a few others. Nevada might be one of them. North Carolina. So those are 5 of the 7. They're the only states that are going to decide this election according to expert analysis. So I bring that up because that's where it does matter. That's where if you find proof and deliver proof, you get your 1%, 2% bump, which in these states, Arizona, Michigan, is going to help you win the election.
Yep.
But it can't just be, and this I think is my always problem with James O'Keefe. There's a lot of smoke, but he never finds the fire.
Well, it actually gets people that know the truth to say things that are the truth because that's them saying it. So it just nothing happens afterwards. I think that's really what it is. There's no consequence to what he has found. And I give the guy chops. He is one of the most unsympathetic, swarmy characters there is. But what he finds and what he digs up, and people actually do say, okay, good. They said it. They said they did it. Good. Got it. But nothing happens after that.
Yeah. No follow-up, no outrage, because obviously his stuff has a reach, but it's typically a reach within the same audience that views it often. So how do you get it beyond that? How do you get it to make an impact, to make you really question where this political money comes from? Because I would just question all of it. All of it is either coming from a few donors, very rich people that are controlling the flow of politics on both sides of the aisle.
Can't do that. That's not fair.
Just like your outdoor world, right? With the no more tags that you can fit on.
No, I wouldn't comment on that.
I would.
Jeez. It's not fair that people have lots of money.
Yeah,
I know.
And I mean, we could get down to because what is fair? How do you even define it?
Nothing is fair. Zero is fair. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through a divorce right now. Do you think things are fair? Things are not fair. I'm telling you, things are not fair. They're not fair. Nothing.
That one I'm going to stay out of. No.
What's that, bud?
I'm going to stay out of that one.
I'm just saying, why not?
No, it just is, right? But that's it. It's. You're exactly right. We have this utopian vision that things should be fair. Maybe they should be, but they're not and won't be. So that's why it's accepting reality, whatever it is, has been such a huge part of my growth as a human, Mike, is to try to get okay with whatever happens, even if it stinks.
Yep.
And sometimes it stinks.
Okay, no, sorry. Get off of that. Jeez, Chuck Schumer's in the news. Baby. Hey, Chuck Schumer's in the news.
Chucky Schumer. Yeah, moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Chuck Schumer. Can't take it back.
I think it's yeah, right. I think it's pretty funny though. I think that Chuck Schumer is calling for regime change in Israel. He's calling for a new election. He's calling shut up. You have no what say do you have in whether they have another election or not, you bozo? Again, that's assuming that the electorate is stupid and that we think, oh, he's a champion for free Palestine, all that nonsense. So he's a champion for me. That's really going to happen. It's not going to happen. One, it's not going to happen. Two, I think, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just before the show, I found 8 nations that really deserve regime change, that just kill people that don't agree with them and, throw gay people off the top of buildings and stuff like that. We can go through the list if you want. Israel isn't even in the top 50. Like, this is just stupidity. It just makes the man look like such a moron.
But this is what's interesting about American politics right now. It's almost as if we're a parliamentary system. Parliamentary systems are not 2 parties. They're multiple parties that try to figure out how to work together. Because in the Democrat side, you have a very big portion of the base of Democrat voters, typically younger, who really don't like Israel, who say all kinds of awful things about Israel. So the Democrat Party, through Schumer, is trying to find a balancing act where strategically they can call out Netanyahu and still appeal to those young voters they need come November. That's all this is. Because Netanyahu called the prime minister of Israel, both party heads, essentially, and he said, I want to speak to both of you. Schumer on the Democrat side said, nope, you can't talk to my caucus, the Democrats. But McConnell on the Republican side, yeah, absolutely. So Netanyahu spoke to Republicans, didn't speak to Democrats. And this is why, because the Democrats cannot be associated with Israel right now, despite the fact that they have a large group of Jewish voters who vote D, particularly in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this interesting balance that Schumer's trying to find by criticizing one of America's main allies so he can win votes for his party in a few months.
And how about this? After 9/11, when we just started bombing the living daylights out of Iraq, were the other nations calling for regime change here in the United States? No, they're like, yeah, dude, go get them. Yeah, go crush everybody there. You go ahead, W, do your thing. And that's the thing. Netanyahu, do your thing, buddy. Yeah, if you want to fight a war, fight a war. You're an independent nation. You can do whatever you want to do. Go nuts. Regime change. It's the same bozo, Chuck Schumer, that has announced today that he is not going to call for the expelling of Robert Menendez, who has been busted as a on-the-take cheat, a liar. He said this, quote, we are just deeply disappointed in him.
Taking bribes from Egypt, gold bars, the whole thing. And
classic Bob.
This guy. By the way, he'd already been charged with corruption once. This is his second go around. We need the vote. We need the vote. Okay. We can't be kicking him out and worried about special elections. We need the guy's vote.
It's unbelievable. That's very believable, but I just can't believe it.
And this is what this is what I cannot fathom, because New Jersey voted for him again, Menendez, as their senator after the accusation. Now, he was found not guilty or mistrial, whatever it was. But now that you have the second accusation, this is that opportunity where New Jersey voters could demand something different and better, but they didn't, because they put this guy in office for 6 more years, like 2 years ago. So he's got like 4 more years on his corrupt term, because we are so hesitant as voters in this country to make a change. And then when we make a change, we try something new with the last guy that was the president of the United States. The whole country has an emotional meltdown in one way or the other. We're like, oh my God. Man,
yeah, we'll see. Hold on,
that's Republicans crying about stuff too. But
gold per ounce times bar weight times 4 years. Oh, he gonna make some money. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Menendez out here to make. He's gonna get paid because now he knows he can get away with it. Now he can just keep going and get away with it. That's fantastic. I can do whatever I want to do. That's absolutely staggering, and should just tell you everything you need to know about the fraud that is Chuck Schumer. He is a complete fraud. He is a scammer. You heard him on the tarmac with President Biden. The man is just, there's absolutely zero in it for we the people. It is everything in it for Chuck Schumer.
That's why I wish this is another wake-up call, because the only way you change this is spread knowledge of how bad the system is. And I know that we get it in our guts, because I've spent a lot of time with progressive voters that are younger than me. We have the same problems. And the problem is there are no results for what we pay for. We pay for in our taxes. No one is happy with the results unless you're on the take. And Schweikert, speaking of Congressman Schweikert, he tells us all the time. He says, I have conservative groups come to me all the time and say, yeah, we really got to do something about this spending, but don't cut my spending. Cut everybody else's spending, not mine. Sure. So nobody actually wants to make a sacrifice for their country. Back to that JFK quote, which I butcher every time because he asked it a weird way. But don't be trying to get something out of your country. Go do something for your country.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of something our country's going to get, I just saw a headline pop up that Chris Christie is not ruling out a third-party run.
Thank God. Thank God. Just what we need.
And okay, so think about this, though. This is interesting. This has popped into my dome piece. So if RFK Jr. is going to steal votes from Biden, the RNC had to rally and find somebody that would float this idea, or maybe actually go in a third party run on a Republican side or a conservative side to see if they could take from Trump. There's more to this than just Chris Christie's big fat ego. I wasn't talking about his weight. I was talking about his ego. Big fat ego. I wasn't fat shaming him, but there's not a doctor in the world to tell you he's healthy. Anyway, moving on. But there has to be something more behind this.
Usually there is. Things don't happen by accident. There's a lot of thought, planning, strategy that goes involved in it. Because again, if you're Chris Christie and you get 5% of the vote, you might prevent Trump from winning, especially in certain key states. Because we know that in several of the states, the 7 that matter, several of those states, it's going to be real close. So every vote does matter. Every 1,000 votes is going to be massive, potentially. I mean, if you look at the polls now, Trump's up big in all those states. But these polls don't matter because it's not September.
Yeah, Hills was up.
Yeah, so Hills was up. Carter was up in 1980 running against Reagan in March. So these polls, there's a lot that happens between now and November. So don't bank on those. But you never know, like a wrinkle like this, you have to have a counter strategy if you're Trump or if you're Biden to get a better message out, to get to the people that you want, which is a very small percentage of people. Like in Arizona, if you can get 20,000 people who didn't vote for you last time to vote for you, you probably win. I mean, that's how close it's going to be.
Which brings up a good point when you talked earlier about 5 states are going to determine this election. That is placed into the media sphere intentionally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you understand that? Because I'm thinking, oh, man, well, if I'm not in Arizona or one of those states, I mean, why do I even need to participate? That's put out there intentionally. That is meant to sway voters in one way or the other, to either sit on their hands or mobilize them. If you see something like that, mobilize. That's all you need to do. And you need to know is that you need to mobilize because it was placed there because they want us to sit on our hands and go, well, I'm in a state that doesn't matter. It's out of play. Who cares? I'll just sit in here and watch Fox News on election night and see how they mess up the calls.
Yeah. Well, and you have to understand, too, I like to look at politics because I don't care about the parties anymore. I'm just done with it. I'm not a part of it. I get no gain from it. So I see what's happening. So I look at things as strategy. And I can tell you the Democrats are very weak on many different issues. Number one, Biden himself is a weakness. The Israel scenario is also a weakness that can be exploited by the Republicans and Donald Trump. But Donald Trump, I think, has to do it in a more effective way than saying, if you vote for Democrats and you're a Jew, you hate your religion and your country. I'm like, okay, I get the tactic. But again, we're talking 20,000 people here that you're talking to. You already got the people that buy into your stuff. Now you got to expand the tent. But you have
employed more Jews than Sleepy Joe.
Fine, use that. Use that as a attack,
go
right?
for it.
I actually work with the Jews. These guys don't, except for votes. Yeah.
Except for Chuck Schumer, and we all know he's a fake Jew.
Yeah. Because I think there's an effective message if you're Trump. And again, I'm talking strategy here. If you come out and you say, I cannot believe the Democrats and how they're abandoning Israel. I cannot believe it. Democrats have supported Israel since 1948 when it became a country. And now all of a sudden, they're questioning their leadership. They're questioning whether Israel has the right to exist. And they're questioning regime change. That's if I were Trump, that's how I would go somewhere in that realm and just keep leaning on that and leaning on it.
That's one of my favorite terms to hear. I believe that Israel has a right to exist. Was non-existence on the table? Was that one of my options? How dumb is that? I believe they have a right to exist. And all Israelis are like, yeah, no crap. Yes, we do have a right to exist. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't get me stuck on this whole apartheid thing. But the thing is the left is fantastic at A, goading Donald Trump into things, and B, using sound bites, clips, snippets, if you will, out of context to make Trump look even worse. Check this latest ad out.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
Dang. All right.
That's why you got to be careful with what you say.
Woo! All of that taken completely out of context. Even the, and I will go toe to toe with anybody who says, but he said there are good people on both sides, veins bulging out of their neck. Completely taken out of context. He quite literally in that speech said, I condemn white supremacy and white nationalism in all forms. In that speech, he said that. He was talking about both sides of the people that purchased permits to protest that day. And it was about the people that wanted the statue to stay and those that wanted the statue to go. Both sides, good people. Exactly what he was talking about. For the love of grief. Sorry, Rob. That one fuels me more than anything because it's just so damn ridiculous.
Well, it's important because we talked about this quite a bit on Russell and Hunter too, in that facts don't really matter because people's emotions matter. And that's what you see in that ad is the Democrats who put that ad together know that they're going to strike fear into the hearts of voters when it comes to Donald Trump. And you're going to see a ton of that come August and September because they're going to try to frame it that way to get people emotional so that when they get their ballot, they vote based on emotion, not on anything else. So the key here to me, Mike, is helping people get free from that manipulation because I always considered freedom as in our individual relationship with our government. However, now I think of freedom as our own relationship with ourselves, as in how our emotions are used against us. So when you're not in control of your emotions and you don't recognize your emotions, you can be manipulated in certain ways. That's really what this is. And it goes back to that power structure. So the power structure, the people in that power structure have all these tools, skills that have helped them make money, close business deals, become elected to office. But they rely on people they can manipulate to get there, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. Breaking free from that is the massive key to your own personal freedom. At least that's what I found. So that when I see that ad, I have that same reaction that Mike does, in that I see what they're doing here. But I also see how Donald Trump keeps falling into that trap, right? Maybe it works for him. Maybe he thinks it works for him. I'm just not so sure that seeing stuff like that helps him win come November.
No, seeing stuff like that definitely doesn't help him win. I mean, hold on. Let me walk that back a little bit because you would think that all of these indictments and charges would sink him. It's only helped him. So we'll see. I mean,
right?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying 100%.
I mean, if there's a guilty verdict, it may change. However, it doesn't look like there's going to be at all possible before November because the trials are all delayed.
One of the most interesting things that kind of go along with that is that I just keep seeing it more and more daily is that Trump derangement syndrome is just, it's absolutely alive. This man lives rent free in the heads of 100 million Americans every single day. It is absolutely staggering. And it's staggering that is where we are right now, but it isn't staggering why it's happening because we can see why it's happening. Susan Rice, by the way, didn't I tell you? Did I tell you she was going to pop up? She's going to keep popping up. Susan Rice. Why is Susan Rice being interviewed? What is she doing? She's not even part of the White House or the administration anymore. Telling you. Newsom Rice. You're gonna see that ticket. Just throwing it out there.
So Susan Rice was an Obama advisor. It was with Obama for 8 years. Became a national security advisor. Most famous. They made her lie about Benghazi, but they lied to her. They didn't tell her. I think she was the national security advisor. She may not have been in that position at the time. Comes out and says this lie that the Benghazi attack on the U.S. embassy in Benghazi, Libya, was because of a movie trailer that had come out.
Yeah, Netflix.
Let alone the truth was, again, the government lied. It was the anniversary of September 11th, and it was just a flat-out terrorist attack that was planned months in advance.
And by the way,
killing U.S. ambassador and 3 U.S. soldiers.
Good. If she was not good then. But if I'll take what you're saying at face value that she was lied to. Even if she was lied to, good. Stand down. You're done. You're toast. I was lied to. Either fess up to it or no. Because she was in it on the take. I don't think she was lied to, but even if she's lied to, all right, Sue, we're lying to you.
No, we did that.
We're going to be a great position. Name your price.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, just absolute garbage.
But this is why we got to wake up, right? You got to tell people what really is going on here is that they're trying to manipulate as many people as possible through emotions and thoughts and programming people to believe that the end of the world is here if you don't vote for us.
Yeah, it's like that stupid REM song.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stay on it. Did you know that a very reputable, very wonderful, sought after interview on The View today? I don't know if you saw this. Stormy Daniels.
Oh,
they don't even call she's so porn star. They don't even call her by her real name. They call her by her porn name. That's who she is. And of course, the ladies of The View. Always so wonderful and to women that don't agree with them or women that are less than them. But if they're very anti-Trump, hey, come on in here. She says that any threats, any supporters that she has gotten, any harassment that she has gotten from a Trump supporter, and by the way, because she's a porn star, any harassment that she gets is definitely from a Trump supporter. Definitely no one else. They have to be a Trump supporter because she's such an upstanding citizen.
Who is going out of their way to talk to Stormy Daniels?
Or a not upstanding citizen. Anyway, she said that she likened the Trump supporters to suicide bombers. That is why not? What, if you're going to jump off the cliff, just jump off the cliff. Say people that harass me are like suicide bombers.
Without the bomb.
Exactly. Or just think back to all of our men and women who have lost freaking lives, limbs, their sanity, their ability to think, see, whatever it is, because of a suicide bomber. And she says, oh, if I'm harassed, these people are like suicide bombers. It's disgusting. And again, it's Democrat overreach. It's left side overreach. They're going to continue to pipe up these people and make them seem like they're credible. They're idiots. And we see it.
Well, and it's retread too, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again, talking to the same people with the same opinions. It's boring. At the end of the day, it's not even entertaining anymore. What else can I possibly listen to Stormy Daniels or anyone else say they don't like Donald Trump? I kind of get it at this point. You've been telling me for 7 years the same thing, how dangerous Donald Trump is. Cool. I'm glad you have that point of view. I don't need to hear you say it anymore. Come up with something new, please. Thank you. Seriously. You have a brain. Let's use it.
But they're not going to, because Trump is the reason that we are going to fail as a nation. Forget about the trillions in debt and forget about all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Donald Trump. And if you absolutely suck as a leader, you can just blame Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
What's the bozo's name? Who's the new mayor of Chicago?
Paul Johnson, I think.
That guy. The name.
I think that's his name.
Anyway, he put up some asinine, let's just house all the homeless people, let's put them up in move them up like George and Wheezy, and we're gonna take care of them, free everything, guaranteed basic income, all that. Voters said no way in hell. He voted Trump. He blamed Trump supporters.
Of course he did. All those, it's like who is that? Jesse Smollett, the actor. It's like him blanging the MAGA hat guys who beat him up at 2 a.m. in Chicago.
14 below 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's one of the
give me a Subway
cities
sandwich
in America. There's like 6 Trump supporters in the whole city. You go to suburbs, maybe it's a little bit different, but in the city of Chicago, I bet you Trump lost 82-18, something like that. I'm going to try to look this up.
Okay,
because
while you do, I'm looking at a video right now of El Paso. El Paso's under attack. El Paso, there's hundreds of migrants that are just taking over the Texas troops. So their ability to put troops on the border absolutely means nothing when hundreds of people are just bum rushing you and knowing that they can do absolutely nothing. They can't fire upon them. They can't arrest them. They can't do any of that. Just keep going. Just push on through. Basically, survival in numbers is what this is. It is absolutely, it's crazy watching this. I mean, you think about me. Say Rob and I are out, and there's a bunch of a big military force. So there's no way we're gonna go bum rush anybody. We're not gonna go after the dudes with strapped with ARs. No. These guys have not a care in the world. Not a care in the world. And then, Massachusetts. Let's go back to Robbie's old hometown. Let's go to Massachusetts. The governor over there is just don't worry about this illegal migration and whatnot. Let me see if we're going to pull up the list of what he said. Oh, yeah. Massachusetts governor on an illegal immigrant raping a 14-year-old girl. You want to hear the quote? This is so awesome. It is unfortunate that from time to time, these things will happen. Good. There you go. Yeah, but just don't worry. Who cares? Just don't worry about it.
At least they said something and rather just ignore it.
That is not something. You know what that's equivalent to? Well, what was she wearing? That's about the equivalent of that garbage.
I didn't. Well, it was that they're very silent about the woman in Georgia that was murdered by someone that is part of this quote unquote asylum surge or whatever we want to call it.
Right.
They're not talking much about that other than, that sucks. By the way, the vote in Chicago, 74% Biden, 24% Trump.
I'm surprised Trump got 24%.
I know. That's pretty good.
That's the anti-Smollett vote is exactly what that was. They're like, okay, you know what? If you pull this crap, here's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to vote for Trump just because you did that, Jussie.
Yeah. But that 24% is responsible for sinking the bill that would house all the homeless.
Yeah, exactly. It's all them. Yeah, it's all those Trump supporters. Yeah, for sure. It's all them. Yeah, for sure. Gosh. Oh, we can get Rob to do his Janet Yellen impression. It's fantastic because Yellen was yesterday was chatting it up, and part of the $7 trillion budget by the Biden administration includes a billionaire minimum tax.
Well, how else are we going to fund it?
A billionaire minimum tax. It includes a 25% tax on total income, including, ready for this, unrealized capital gains. Unrealized, you haven't made it yet, capital gain, 25%. Here's a fast way to take every billionaire in the United States and make them a citizen of another country. Vilify them and punish them. Be punitive for their success. And by the way, y'all made at least a dozen of them when you between Pfizer and Moderna. Y'all made the billionaires. Now you're gonna go after them.
Many more beyond that, right? How many green energy billionaires are there now who are getting government money? Your money, not government money. Your money. I think that this just adds to my list of frustrations that seem so obvious, but yet around this country are not obvious, that this is all a game. It's not a game for the betterment of you or your life or betterment of anything else. I mean, let's use homeless as a perfect example. The state of California. State of California, one of the most liberal states out there. I've had the homeless problem for a long time. So Gavin Newsom comes in office and he's going to spend all this money. And they did. They spent $17 billion on homelessness, and it's worse. It is worse than what it was before they spent the $17 billion. So where'd all that money go? Who got rich off helping the homeless while not helping the homeless? Because that's the real tragic reality of politics in America, is that there are very rarely the results that are promised. And we as voters are just apathetic to it. We continue to vote for the same people, thinking we don't have any other options. Now, maybe tomorrow we don't have any other options, but maybe in 2026, 2028, et cetera, we do, if we're willing to get together and do the work. Because the Democrats are going to do the work. What'd you say, Mike? Sorry.
That's it. It's time to do work.
Time to do some work.
Yeah. That's why when Laura Trump stepped up, when Ronald McDonald stepped down as the head of the RNC, and she just said, basically, until you tell me otherwise, I'm running this joint. She was straight up. She's like, we're going to ballot harvest like crazy where it's legal, and we're going to get on the ground. We're going to do what the Democrats do. We're not going to sit around and take this stuff. One thing, I mean, especially after that Sammy the Bull interview about Donald Trump that I saw, I was like, you don't mess with the Trump family. Like if the Trump family is running the show, they're going to play as dirty as you want to play.
Well, hopefully
they're not going to lose with dignity.
Yeah, 2020 and 2022, because that was not really part of the strategy. The part of the strategy was like a surge on election day only. And it looked good, but you forgot that Democrats in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin were like out there just taking ballots to people, registering to vote, having to fill out a ballot because they pay people to do that.
And after election day. Remember that? What was it? The ballots are good if they're placed 48 hours after election day or something like that. That was fantastic. That was one of the 6 things I think it was that were deemed unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the steal came from. I tell you, that's where the steal. Came from. That's where it is.
That's where it is.
Then play.
Well,
that's play ball.
And that's it, right? This was a strategy, and the Democrats were not shy about it, and they've been working on their 2024 strategy since 2020. They started immediately because they figured it was going to be Trump. They figured what they were going to be up against. So they started doing their back deals, backroom things that they do. I mean, that's the reality of politics.
I'm excited to see what their strategy is for getting rid of Biden. I can't wait. I mean, if any of their previous moves is indicative of what they are going to do to get rid of Biden, it is going to be laughable and comical. Thinking that they're never going to know that we're up to shenanigans. They're never going to know that we planned this. So this is going to look like something out of the blue. We're all going to clutch our pearls. Maybe we're going to hold a Biden picture and take a knee in the rotunda, for a few minutes after we have, he's having health problems or whatever. Remember they did that with the Kenta robes?
Mm-hmm.
The scars. Maybe we'll do something big like that. Then they'll never know that we had this planned. I can't wait. So excited. Telling you, Newsom Rice.
It is not going to be easy because the Biden team has pretty good control. Because if you think about this, Biden's got his team around him who have unprecedented power because Biden, is not a full-time dude, just isn't. So they're going to fight tooth and nail to stay in that position. So in order for Newsom to be able to do this, I've been thinking about this too. Best way to do it would be at the convention in August, to have Biden come out and be like, I'm not running again. I'm too old. I just got diagnosed with this. Here's Gavin and Susan. That'd be the best, most effective way to do it. However, Biden doesn't want to leave. And his people don't want him to leave.
Going.
Exactly right. So as much as I have thought there's no way they're going to run Biden, I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think because of the way politics works, and they favor the incumbent even in their own party.
But look how tenacious they have been the last 3 years to take out Donald Trump. Look at the blinding tenacity as an entire unit they have moved to take out one American. One. It is absolutely, it's kind of impressive, really, when you look at it. I mean, because they did not care what we think. They didn't care what we the people think. So I don't think that the DNC is going to care at all that they say, no, he called in sick for the rest of his life. We're just going to go ahead and put Newsom up here and then see what happens in the next 6 months, because they won't go past May. I doubt they'll go past May.
No, I mean, I think if they do, it'll be convention, because it's basically already locked up now. He's got enough delegates, Biden does. Yeah. So my thought would be it waits till then, and then there's the excuse that builds up. Because if the poll numbers continue like this for Biden, that's when the pressure's really going to start building, I think, because every Democrat media person fears a return of Donald Trump to the White House. And here's the other funny thing. I thought about this the other day. So instead of, and I said this back on our show too, Mike, I said, if Trump loses, he's going to run again. So instead of just saying, all right, fine, we'll give Donald Trump his 8 years and then we'll move on. Nope. Donald Trump, if he wins, is a 12-year story. It's really a 15-year story from running for president to the second term being over. So instead of just ripping the Band-Aid off, getting to 8 done, and saying, wow, he's not eligible to be president anymore. Nope, now we've extended it out 4 more years.
No one in the media does not want Donald Trump. They want Donald Trump as president. They want Donald Trump. Could you imagine? Because Donald Trump, the whole go after Donald Trump ends. It will end if he does not win this. They want him because they know that equals ratings, because they can just hit repeat back in 2016. They can hit repeat and look for the ratings again. So
I think it'll be like, oh, I'm watching the same movie again. I'm out.
Okay, fine, good, but we're intelligent. We're talking about the mass media here, so we're talking about people that just think that's they want him to win. They do want the man to win because they can still talk about him. That's Trump equals ratings.
Trump equals money. I mean, the Trump economy, if you looked at all the facets of it, basically, I spent working at KFYI about 7 years talking about two things: a pandemic and Donald Trump. Mike, same thing.
Yeah, right.
More or less. I mean, I
Yeah.
would say that outside of the pandemic, 80% of the conversations on talk radio in some way, shape, or form were about Donald Trump
100%.
on CNN, on every channel. So I think that that's the part where I'm like, okay, I get it, but I kind of get it. There's nothing else for me at this point to talk about in relationship to that, because I've seen the playbook. I see what the Democrats are doing. I see what the government is doing. I see what Trump is up against. I see what Trump has gotten himself into, because a lot of this was his decisions. So he's got to figure out how to get himself out of some of these things, some of these court cases, two in particular. The RICO case in Georgia, which may take care of itself because Fannie Wells is,
Telling you, clown
Fannie
show.
Wells. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that to me, Mike, is the bigger realization that the clown show, as much as it was attributed to Trump, the clown show is everywhere in our politics, because we've elected clowns for the last 20 years, and it's never been more apparent than ever. Yet we're still going to go down the same path mostly.
We'll see. Yeah, we will definitely see, especially with this this old Trump Biden thing. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Nooners. He's Rob. I'm Mike. This is Russell and Hunters, the Brewmance, the Friday Nooner. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hang out if you're in the West Valley and there's a bunch of rumbling and things like that. That's just a bunch of cool jets, like, you know, the Firebirds and
America.
all those. Thunderbirds, Firebirds. And one of Blue Angels is one of them, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, the air show. There's an air show going on, by the way. And if you are in Phoenix and you want to just get outside, there's the Arizona Game and Fish Expo. It's free. Gratis. Just go in there and walk around and have some fun. Yeah. See a bunch of chicks on horses shooting balloons.
Not bad.
That's the only takeaway I had from it. So it's okay. Good. All right. All right, buddy.
Honesty.
Have a great weekend, pal. You guys have a great weekend too.